All right, cool. I appreciate it. Give me 1 second.
All right, there we go.
Give me one. I'll be ready. But nobody's got any questions, right? Everybody's cool to go.
Yep, I think we're all good.
All right. All right. Let's do this thing. Give me 1 second. Oh, by the way, Mr. You're up. You're up first today, okay? And then Corey, Shane, off. That's tonight's order. All right, everybody, welcome back in. We appreciate you being with us as always. We have a full panel, full house tonight. Yusef, Mr. Yu is back in the house. Shane's in here. Austin's in here. Corey's from some unfortunate events, but he's back in. So we're really happy to have all of these gentlemen with us tonight. As always, if you know somebody who wants to be on this show, please reach out to us. Maybe you know somebody who's been sitting on the sidelines of sports for 10 years and they've been thinking about it. They've never done it. This is a perfect one to have. So by all means, surprise them, hit us up with, we'll reach out, we'll make the connection, we'll make it happen. We appreciate you tonight. We are loaded with 1,000,001 topics. I'm going to hop on over to the first one tonight. NFL draft, obviously the big thing from the weekend. There were other big things. I think this one dominated the stage for the most part. So NFL draft, what I'm looking for tonight is 3 things that you noticed from the draft. Things you liked, things you didn't, things you thought were interesting, things you thought were boring, but you wanted to talk about them anyway. I don't care. 3 things from the NFL draft. Just you're up first, man.
Oh my goodness. I feel the heat under my feet. All right. So Panthers to Falcons. I know somebody can talk about it, so I'm gonna leave a little bit of meat on the bone for him. But big shocker. We can go into like more detail. It's probably my 60, so I'll just leave that there. The biggest complaint about Chicago was their talent. I feel like Caleb Williams is gonna make history this year. He's gonna be the first rookie quarterback with the tightest leash in history, because he's not going to have much room here for anything. He's getting loaded up with talent on the offensive side, fresh faces on the O-line. Brother, there's nothing left. Can't cry on my shoulder now. You got to go ahead and that. This is made for him now. And the third thing is what's going on in San Fran with Ayuk and Debo. They want to trade them. Then they're saying they don't want to trade them. If those guys leave, are the Giants available? We'll take them. We'll take them both. We'll figure it out.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jude. Next up, Corey.
Like you said, man, with the Falcons, man, the first pick had me floored, man. First, I was like, why did we do that? And it's like, okay, well, maybe, method to the madness. But at first reaction was like, like, I just knew who was going to do it, though. I just knew it. I said, we not going to get a great defensive player in the first round because we always whiff on that. So, but we got Michael Penix. And that's not a bad pick, man, simply because Kirk Cousins coming off injury. Penix had injuries before, too. So maybe give him a chance to kind of get involved. So I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, it kind of worked out because 2 thing I noticed is that we started drafting more defense. I'm gonna stay on the Falcons side because I was like, man, at least we got some defenders. I was like, yo, can we please kind of rectify some of that? So we got some drafting defense. And then my last homer pick, a lot of Clemson guys got drafted. So I was really, and that was my 3 things for the most part, man. It was a good draft, though. It was, twists and turns.
There were a lot. It started with the Falcons. The Falcons blew up everything, and then everybody else kind of had to chase things around the room that night. Shane.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody else has hit on it. My first was what the hell, Atlanta. I like Penix. I think he's a good choice. But it's allocating resources. Like, you've drafted all offense within the top 10 picks for 4 years. You haven't been able to use any of them well. I mean, you take a quarterback that you already spent a ton of money on. You have one of the older quarterbacks, as a rookie, to bring him in. And I also think you take 2 dynamic talents that are completely opposite. So like OTLs where Phoenix is going to start throwing the ball all around the world. You see Cousins coming off an injury, like you're also starting to divide that locker room already that they don't need that. My second thing, staying on, my not a fan Patriots did. I mean, I said here before Drake May was not my choice. So I don't think that he's the answer, and I think they also think that as well, or you wouldn't have picked Joe Milton in the back half. On the great drafts, I thought Pittsburgh really played, drafted well, got guys that were, either seated a little bit lower than what they thought and moved up to be able to make those plays. And I think they're going to come back out with a power offense and power the ball. I love both of the offensive linemen they grabbed early on. I think that will help. And like Corey said, I saw on the Falcons, I like JD Bertrand, out of Notre Dame, an Atlanta kid already too. So him coming home, linebacker wasn't their number one need, I don't believe, when you look at the Falcons, but I thought that was the one helpful, as they said.
By the way, Shane, I love your hat. Okay, that's a very nice hat.
I'm actually repping 2 Expos, so I have the Lake Monsters as well, which used to be their single A. So, all Expos today.
Love it. Austin, what you got on the draft, man?
So first, I wanted to just shout out a big thank you to Davis Mills for saving the NFL. If you look at what the Hail Mary he threw to end the 2022-2023 season, like just the dominoes, the chain that kind of set off is seemingly now we're seeing the wave finally hit shore. You had last year the draft, it caused the Bears to get the first pick, which then they traded down, which got Carolina, Bryce Young, and then it let the Texans take CJ Stroud at 2, and it then let the Colts, because they're the ones who lost. So they bumped up in the draft and they ended up getting Anthony Richardson out of it. So just in the first year, you had the CJ Stroud and the Anthony Richardson picks. And then this year, with seeing the ramifications of all that and the trade that the Panthers made to come up, let the Bears get Caleb Williams at 1. And the Panthers still ended up having a pretty good offseason and draft. And I don't know what the NFL looks like if that Hail Mary that Davis Mills threw at the end of a game in week 18 of 2022-2023 season. What does the NFL look like if it wasn't for that? It would be completely different, I think. And I love where we're at now because this draft was a lot of fun. And then my other points were the edge rushers kind of came off the board a lot higher than expected, or more in the first round. At least I think there were 5 drafted in the first round, which most people thought there was just going to be 3. So I thought that was a pretty interesting note. And then lastly, the NFC kind of got the memo that, hey, the AFC is way better than you guys, especially at the quarterback position. The AFC has been loaded at quarterback recently. And finally, we had 5 first round or top 10 quarterbacks go, 4 of the 5 going to the NFC. So the NFC is like, hey, we got to step up our quarterback game, and they have. I am just really excited for this NFL season after this draft.
Love all of what you guys are putting out there. Mr. U, I apologize. I missed what you were saying because I was playing around. So apologize to the audience. Technical difficulties. Thank you, Yusef. We had some technical difficulties. If we once again this week have 4 radio instead of 5 visual guests, I apologize. That's all my fault. I have a future, I hope, in sports media, but not technology, because I have no future there. But anyway, Austin, I was not expecting a conversation about the draft to start off with Davis Mills. But thank you very much. You were living up to your reputation. Appreciate it very much. All right, we're going to stay on topic here with the NFL draft. We're going to hone in on the Kansas City Chiefs. Typically, a lot of you, we have a number of Kansas City fans who actually live in the Kansas City area, watch this show. So we're going to basically just impressions. You can go anywhere you want really quick with the Kansas City Chiefs draft. Yusef, what you got?
I'll be on my best behavior then. I think the overall feeling that and the rich seem to get richer. I mean, they don't have high draft picks, just won a championship. So now what they're doing is stocking up at areas of weakness and doing it, fairly easily. So getting Worthy, which is they got to thank Buffalo for that help there to get Worthy wide receiver, and got Hollywood Brown at this. So got speed on the outside and the slants and stuff. So it's like now you get home weapons he didn't have last year. Still, and I was one of those guys, this year they ain't gonna win because of that, and they still. It's like now you fix the problem. So, sorry to hear that, but congrats to them. They did what they had to do, and they're even stronger and tougher to beat now than they ever were. So,
you ain't wrong. When they got Reed Mahomes to start with, they usually enter every season, every game with some kind of an advantage. If they're drafting decent at all.
To add on to Xavier Worthy, like great speed, he's an instant game changer. Like he can so many weapons. Like Pat Mahomes has such an arsenal right now, and then they drafted some offensive linemen. So now you draft some offensive linemen who can, protect them and then maybe help out in the run game when needed. And then they draft tight end from TCU, so maybe could be underling or take under the wing of a Travis Kelce. So all that being said, I think one of the interesting things was they actually went defense at the end. They kind of got some defensive backs towards the end, which is good because I feel like in the AFC, you got to score some points, man. Like I feel like those games are usually high scoring in the playoffs and season, so they got some at the end. So the Chiefs did a pretty good job.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I felt. I didn't think it was a blow me away draft, but I liked the draft. So I'm interested to see what our last two guys in the panel say. Shane, I've got you next.
So I think, like you said, Ben, there's nothing about the draft that blows me on that. But I think the teams in the NFL that are solid every year draft to their DNA. The Chiefs are going to look for a speed wide receiver. They're going to look to build the offensive line. And then they're going to pick defensive players that might mean undersized defensive linemen, but it fits well with how Spagnuolo is going to run the defense. Worthy is a burner. I mean, like at a speed that I hope he catches the ball, like that type of speed where he can open it up. But is he going to be the number one receiver? I don't know, but he gives you another element when you have Mahomes at quarterback. Like Corey brought up, you go for Kinsley Sutamate, that is a young offensive lineman that if you look at the family that he has in the NFL that have played in the NFL, he has the genes and he's huge and young. Get him in, get him, in the system, let him build up with that offense. And like Corey and Yusuf mentioned, they've done a good job of helping their weaknesses. They don't reach for people. They make sure that if they're going to get them, they're going to fit the system. And when we're talking about like defensive backs, they've picked low on defensive backs, and then those defensive backs have become premier corners and safeties to where then you can use them when they go and move on. So like I said, it didn't blow me away. I didn't think they got anybody that was earth shattering, but you got to reload when you're a team like that. You don't need to, reinvent the wheel for them.
I agree. Austin, you usually come up with something different. I don't care if you do it here or not, but I'm curious to see what you got on that.
Well, first of all, I did want to shout out, I think their best pick of the draft came in the 4th round. With Jaden Hicks being taken out of Washington State. He was one of my favorite DBs in the whole class, a fantastic safety. I think he will be a good value. And then I did like the Jared Wiley pick at tight end. He also kind of fell a little bit later. I had Hicks, I had like a 3rd round grade on. They got him late in the 4th. Wiley was also late in the 4th, but I had like a 4th round grade on. But it was a nice value there. And then you guys hit on it with the tackle and Kingsley in the late 2nd round. A lot of people had him going to the Chiefs in the 1st round in their mock drafts. So great value there. I've been recorded saying I'm not the biggest Xavier Worthy fan, and I'm still on that train. There were better values for what they got, but I understand that, like I said before, if Patrick Mahomes told me, to draft a 7th grader out of Bay Haven Middle School in the 1st round to keep Pat Mahomes happy, I would do it. So if this is the pick that Pat Mahomes wanted, it's the pick he's going to get. It's going to be a fun toy for him. He's got the cannon arm to match the speedy legs. we'll see how it works out. I think Hollywood Brown and his kind of skill set might be a little bit redundant this year, but Brown is on a 1-year deal. So maybe this is kind of reading on the wall saying, hey, Brown's not coming back next year. Xavier's going to be our, deep guy next year.
All right, fair enough all the way across the board. I like the input there, and we'll talk more about that. That's all we're going to talk about the draft for the most part tonight, unless somebody's got something on the back end of our show tonight in the final 60. But as always, check out the Tricky Takes podcast, the Simon Short and Friends podcast, the Odds on Favorite podcast out there, Apple and Spotify. We covered the draft both before and after, so by all means, go and check it out. Our next topic for the night is best and worst. I love doing these best and worst. It's not fair, to be honest, but I do like that it kind of highlights what we really like and what we really don't like. So tonight's best and worst is the AFC South, and specifically the coaches this week. So there are 4 coaches, of course, in the AFC South. I won't call them out, but most of you know who they are. We want the best and the worst, and I know that's not fair, but we're going to do it anyway. And yourself, you got the first at bat.
Best is a little bit easier than the worst is. The best, I'm going with Coach Ryans. I've been following that team. I don't know what it was about the Texans from the beginning. I feel like they had it. I was telling everybody on our show, I'm like, this guy right here, he's gonna turn this team around, and he did that. Won 10 games in his rookie year, had a top 10 passing unit, a defense that ranked 8 in yards per attempt. I mean, they were doing everything they had to do. 11th in points allowed. I mean, they were just dominating. 14th in yards. They had it going on for the most part throughout the season. A couple of hiccups during the season, but for the most part, they overachieved. Loved it. As far as the worst goes, I'm going with the guy that's probably not stat-wise the worst. I'm going with Peterson in this situation. And this is not no former NFC East hate, nothing like that. This is just on the facts right here. last 4 or 5 seasons. I had 9 wins, I think, since 2017. That was the Super Bowl year, I believe it was. He get a lot of props because he won the Super Bowl, but it makes you ignore a lot of stuff that you shouldn't be ignoring right now. And that's what's happening with him. Lawrence's production went down dramatically. A lot more fumbles, a lot more interceptions. We don't know if it's an O-line situation. They didn't really solve it as much as I thought they would in the draft, a little bit. But there was some regression there. Was it because of something schematically going on? Not really sure, but a lot of fingers are pointing at Peterson in this, and I'm watching him. I'm like, he's getting a lot of passes. I feel like a lot of games that they lost, a lot of it was on him in decision making. So we'll see. But for me, out of the entire AFC South, I'm giving a guy from Colts a pass because he did good in the limited amount of things he had to work with. I'm giving Peterson the worst in that situation. Hope that all made sense.
It all made sense. I'm going to see if the rest of the panel comes up with the same lottery numbers. Corey, where are you at on this?
Honestly, man, I was going to say Ryans as well, D'Amico Ryans. I like that he's a former player. I like that, and we mentioned this before with like Antonio Pierce and how he's able to do with the Raiders. I just like how guys who played the game and then they transition into coaching. I do think that's a really cool thing. I think there should be more of that. So for best coach, and like you said, he kind of took the Texans up when kind of expected them to kind of be kind of out of the way for a while, but he kind of brought them back in the conversation. CJ Stroud ain't no joke, man. That team is very good, quiet as kept. I'm going with Indiana because I don't even know the coach's name, man. I'm not even sure who the coach of the coach is, man. I know they got Anthony Richardson. I feel like they had Jonathan Taylor as running back, but I think they lost him or something like that. I don't know. I don't really follow the coach too much, man. I mean,
they have a quarterback, man.
Yeah, they ain't got nothing going on. And I mean, they ain't got nothing going on, man. I don't know. So I think is it Stan Steiches? I don't even know, man. So I'm going with them being the worst. Don't know too much about them, to be honest. And I'm going with the Texans and Ryans for the best.
Fair enough, Corey. Shane, where are you at on best and worst here, man?
So I'm keeping the train going on D'Amico Ryans for best. I think 2 big things. I like to look at people who got taken from the coordinator spot and what their team does after he's gone. San Francisco is not the same team without him being the defensive coordinator. And what he's been able to bring to the Texans, I think they've bought into who he is. Plus, not only is he a former player, but he's a former player for that team. Like he has bought into Houston. He is ready to be able to carry that chain for them. For me, I think Yusuf mentioned like Peterson record. I'm not a fan of his. I think Brian Callahan though is going to be the worst in Tennessee. I think I wasn't a big fan of him as a coordinator with Cincy. I like that the Callahans do offensive line, but if that's the case, Tennessee's not built for what they're looking to do. I think he's going to have a rough go of it. I don't think his GM helped him. So I think that he's going to end up on the wayside on that one. And again, like I said, not really his fault, but I think he's going to have a hard go of it. And this might be one of those ones where he's a better coach the second time around.
Fair enough. Austin, are you going to fall in line with where most of these other guys are, or are you coming straight out of left field on us?
No, I'm going to echo Shane. No need to talk about Ryan's, D'Amico, and Houston. These guys have nailed it on the head there. But I do want to talk a little bit about the Callahans, because you have to, when you're talking about Brian, you also have to talk about Bill, who is there to coach up the offensive line. Bill Callahan is widely regarded as like the offensive line guy in the NFL, and I know a lot of people were blindsided by the J.C. Latham pick in the top 10 by the Titans, but Latham's got the like ball of clay type tag on him where he's just so big and physical that if Bill Callahan can be the one to mold him, he could turn out into be one of the best tackles in the league. So I do like the pick for that reason. I wasn't the biggest J.C. Latham fan in a vacuum, but I do love the landing spot for him.
Yeah.
But it's just it's the toughest situation for a coach to be in amongst any of them, and he has no coaching experience at the head coach level. So I got to give the benefit of the doubt to Shane Steichen after his first year in Indy, because he looked like he was going pretty well, and then AR got hurt. So I'll give him a pass for 1 year. We'll see what he does in year 2. I'm going to go with Brian Callahan as the worst.
I'm right with where all of y'all are on D'Amico Ryans. Listen, he's got a quarterback in C.J. Stroud who's making him look amazing, but I haven't seen Ryans do anything as a head coach or as a defensive coordinator that made me not want him. When I watched him both as DC with the 49ers and as coach last year with Houston, that's my guy. That's the guy I want, whether he's got C.J. Stroud or not. Everything he does seems to just be pushing almost all the right buttons. He just seems to have the it. So Ryans to me is the easy favorite right here. The worst, I know it's not fair, but it is Callahan, just because, man, I wasn't a huge fan of the hire in the first place. And listen, maybe a decade from now, he turns out to be the best of the bunch. But just from where we're sitting right here, he seems to have the biggest hill to climb with that organization. He seemed to have the resume that I was kind of the least impressed with after watching him as coordinator. And he's never head coached before. So unfortunately, Callahan gets stuck in the rear on this one. All right, that's the best and worst. Thank y'all very much. I love doing best and worst. Unfair, though it definitely is at times. We're moving on. 10-5-1 tonight. So in our 10-5-1 money section, Shane has moved into the lead with a big hit last week. I don't remember what it was, Shane. If you want to brag for a second, tell everybody what it was. But you're at $55. I'm at 49 playing conservative. Austin's at 39 right now. Corey's at 35. Mr. U, we'll just plant you at 35 tonight as low water mark. I don't remember what you did last time, but that's what we'll do with 10-5-1. Tonight's bet is TNT tomorrow night. Game 5, Mavericks at Clippers. The series is all tied at 2, so it's a pretty good series. These two teams, I think, are going to go back and forth. We want to know just straight up who's going to win tomorrow night. No odds or anything, just straight up who's going to win. Yusef?
Going with the Clips, whether Kawhi comes back or not. I think it's been a defensive battle majority of the time between these two teams. And forget the guy's name. Forgive me. He's been playing as a backup for Kawhi. Not putting out a whole bunch of big numbers, but he's serviceable, and it's been helping, especially on the rebounding end. So I'm sticking with the Clips. Go ahead and take this.
And you want to put 10-5-1 on it, Yusef? How confident? What's our confidence level here?
I'm gonna put 10 on this.
All right, yeah. That's what I figured. I knew you knew. I knew you knew what you're doing here. Okay, Corey.
Hey man, I'm gonna go ahead and put 10 on the Mavs, man. I'm putting 10 on the Mavs because I feel like I don't know. I feel like Kyrie's getting kind of disrespected, man. I'm like, wait a minute. I was talking to somebody, and it was like Luka Doncic is better than Kyrie, and I was like, wait a minute. When did that happen? Like, hold on now. When did that happen? So I think that's mainly the reason why I'm going with the Mavs. I'm a big, I like Kyrie's game. I like how they have a dynamic approach. I like duos. So I would like to see the Mavs do something with that, with that tandem. So I'm going with the Mavs, man. And I think Kyrie needs a little bit more respect on his game. So I'm putting 10 on the Mavs.
Fair enough, Shane. Money
Okay,
leader.
so I'm gonna piggyback off of Corey. You know me, I always go 10. So we're going 10. We're going Mavs. I like what Yusuf said, though. I think that this game is going to be close. But the thing for me is the Clippers have been shooting great, and I don't think that continues. I think it showed a little bit as the Mavs made that huge comeback in the last game that when the Clippers hit, they can drop pretty quickly. So if Doncic picks his game up a little bit and can keep that going, I think the Mavs pull this. Plus, it gives you another game to play around with if they do pull off in Game 5. So,
yeah, totally understand. Austin, what's your pick, man?
Well, to be honest, I would have gone with the Mavs, but I've got to catch up to Shane, so I'm going 10 on the Clippers. This is simply, a math game. I can't catch him if I make the same pick as him, and he didn't give me any room to go higher than him. Like, 10's maxed out. So I'll ride with Yusuf on this one. I do want to mention Corey as one of the biggest Kyrie Irving fans on the planet. Like my whole Cavs, I'm a Cavs fan, and my whole love for them kind of ties back to Kyrie. Luka absolutely is just better than Kyrie at this point. But I do agree that Kyrie is slightly disrespected. And I hope he, plays well. But yeah, I'm going to be pulling for the Clippers, I guess. Terrence Mann, go Knowles, going to be, showing out for the Clippers.
We don't have time for a long conversation, but Corey, real quick, 10-second, 15-second rebuttal, and then we're moving on.
Man, the thing about it is, like, Luka just comes off a little just boring to me, man. Kyrie just got that flair. That's all.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. If I had to pick, I would pick Luka at this point in their careers. But I will say Kyrie, I think for the first time in a long time, if not ever in his career, is actually just playing straight up ball and not doing anything else on the sideline to get himself kind of mixed up. When I watched him early in the season, the regular season, he was having fun. He was cutting up with the fans. He was lighting it up from outside and inside, and here they are in the playoffs. They actually look legit. I mean, so everything is pointing upwards here for Kyrie and kind of late in his career here. So I do certainly like him. That's part of the reason I'm picking Dallas to win. I'll put $10 million on that one. So I do like Dallas a little bit better in this whole series. That's where I'm going to go with that. Moving on ahead, our next topic for the night. We got a bunch. NHL. So I know some of y'all do NHL a lot. Some of you don't do it at all. We just want to know your current prediction, and we're not going to hold you to this. We're going to allow everybody to kind of change this from week to week whenever we cover it, but just your current prediction for NHL finalists, who the matchup would be. You don't have to give us a winner if you don't want to, but your current matchup. Yusuf.
All right, I'm doing a homer pick here. I'm going Rangers and Dallas Stars. That's probably not an adventurous pick, but that's what I'm going with. Besides, I love Rempe. I'm like, he's a monster. I'm like, I don't know who's going to stop him when he's out there beating people up. It's beautiful.
I won't predict for you, Shane. I think I know what one half of your group is going to be, but I'll come back to you in a second. Corey, you're up next year.
I'm going Carolina Hurricanes versus everybody. Like, I'm not a big hockey fan, but just the simple fact that a team from South Carolina has made it this far, I've always get a kick out of that. Like, there's like a hidden, unknown love of ice hockey in South Carolina, and it's crazy, man. I kind of dig it, but I'm not too into it. But anytime I hear Carolina Hurricanes, I'm thinking, oh, we're probably going to do pretty well as a hockey team, and at this level, So Carolina Hurricanes versus everybody else. I probably need to brush up on other squads, see what they got going on, but I'm going with the Hurricanes, man.
Corey said it didn't matter who the other team was. It just didn't matter at all.
It's deeper than you think out here, but they love it. Stingrays, they love hockey out here. It's weird, but it's weird.
All right, Shane.
So Yusuf, just like he said before, he talked about watching wrestling with his grandmother, and Matt Rempe, he fits right in with that. That old school 1980s WWF Rempe would be dominant there as well. Love the Hurricanes. Was a big fan of them when they were the Hartford Whalers as well. So that tells you kind of the NHL for me. But my pick is Florida Panthers versus Las Vegas. Both of them play a heavy style. Both of them have offensive talent. My favorite NHL player right now is Matthew Tkachuk. I think both of those teams can score with anybody and they can defend. I love the Hurricanes because I love Brendan Moore. I don't think they have the talent, but I love him as a coach, and I'd like to see what he would do in a different area because I don't think he gets the respect being the head coach for the Hurricanes right now.
Not where I thought you were going, Shane, but I love it. We're all over the board here on the NHL picks. Austin, where are you at?
Well, like Corey, I gotta go my homer and Yusuf, but with Corey, I'm going with the Carolina Hurricanes out of the East. And listen, North Carolina and South Carolina are friends. We're happy to, they're the Carolina Hurricanes. They're not the North Carolina Hurricanes. South Carolina absolutely can claim them too, even though they're here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then on the other side of the bracket out west, I used to be a Predators fan before I moved to Raleigh. So my heart is still kind of with the Predators in Nashville. They're down 3-1 in the series, but they're probably not going to pull it off. But darn it, I'm going to pick the Predators anyways. Give me the Predators versus the Hurricanes.
I love it. I'm going to completely mix it up here and go against the grain of some of the favorites. I'm going to pick the Maple Leafs and the Oilers right now, all right? I know that's totally mixed up, but we'll see what comes out of all this. And we're all free to change our picks a week or two from now when we do it again, if we do it again, which we probably will, because I do like the NHL playoffs. Moving on quickly, one of our last topics of the evening. This is totally in a personal, random, alternate universe realm. I don't even know how often some of you guys get this. I don't ever get this. I don't know if any of you guys get this, but we'll see. You got a no obligations, no family, get free, day at home, by yourself to do whatever you want. So I mean, you can stray a little bit from the house if you want, but basically, what are you doing with your day if you have no obligations and whatever you want to do, just have a day to yourself, Yusef?
Is that a real thing? You guys do that?
Well, maybe I've heard of this. Yes,
Sound like a dream.
All right. Well, I've seen it before, but it rarely ever happens. If that happens, it's usually somebody mowing the lawn outside. So it's like, or a plane flying real low. So it never really happens to me. But for me, it's my second favorite therapy. That's writing. When the house is quiet, I can hear a mouse burp. That's how I know it's good. I get a lot of work in that way. My second favorite therapy behind range shooting. So I'll just write. I get on a keyboard and I just pound out a whole bunch of content. So that's my little therapy. I know it's boring compared to you guys, but yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's simple, but man, it's you. So you do you. Corey?
Man, I feel like there's so much I could do, so much I would want to do, but I think the simple thing would just like order a pizza, like just my own pizza, just a regular pepperoni pizza. I probably won't finish all of it, but my intention is the whole pizza is mine, right?
Yes.
And I'll probably have like a big cup of whatever my favorite drink is, have that nearby, have an endless supply of that. So like when I run out, go get some more. And then, of course, back to the food, man. I am a sucker for like some barbecue or some wings or something like that, man. Listen, if there's like some kind of like breakfast, lunch, dinner situation, there's gonna be stuff like that. And then probably watch as much action movies, as much movies with a lot of stuff in it that I can't watch usually, as much as possible, just to kind of, reset a little bit. And then, that would be a good day for me, man. I mean, that would be good. I doubt it happened, but I might be able to sneak a day. Maybe an hour or two I could do that, but not a whole day.
We can dream, man. We can dream, baby. Shane, I doubt it's any more realistic for you, but, in your dreams, what you got?
No, like everyone said, I mean, once I wake up from this dream to find out that I actually have this time, I kind of would go exactly with Corey. I think it's important. You don't want to set expectations too high because then you're going to spend the time going like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. No.
Right.
I'm gonna stay at home. I agree with Corey. See, I would go just wings because I have pizza with the family, but the family doesn't like wings the same way I do. They don't like this. You gotta gotta placate everybody in that run. So if it's all me by myself, we're going wings. We just talked about the NHL. I mean, if it's this time right now, I'm looking for a Saturday. Again, dream scenario, never going to happen, but look for a Saturday, get that, watch as many games as I can, have, your favorite adult beverage, as Corey said, and then just be happy. I don't get a lot of time where that's just I'm the only one I got to think about. So if you give me that day, hopefully I don't wake up from that dream, but that's what I'm going with.
I like that. I like all three of you guys so far. Austin, how
Well,
realistic, and what you got?
it's not super unrealistic for me. I do get some
Okay.
nice days to myself, luckily. But yeah, I've got like a full itinerary of just like the perfect day, which is I get to sleep in, which is awesome.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of sleeping in. I'm getting up, I'm going to the gym, nothing too crazy, just kind of getting in there, get the muscles moving. It feels good, and but to do that before lunch. Then I'm probably gonna come home, hop on the Xbox, chill for a little bit. About 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, throw a steak in the sous vide machine, and
Mm.
then grab my clubs and head to the driving range and just whack a golf ball around on a driving range for a good hour. Come back, rinse off, take my steak out of the sous vide, sear it, and then throw on a Braves game and eat my steak. That's the perfect day.
All four of y'all can invite me over for y'all's perfect day because I like all four of them. Okay, I legit do. But mine would look more like sleeping late because I just need the extra sleep. I don't get a whole lot sometimes. Get up, go outside, walk around, mow some grass just because I enjoy physical labor, physical effort. I enjoy it. I can't sit around for 12 hours straight like most guys can't, right? So I get in some labor. Then I'm coming in, I'm watching games. I'm watching, I hope it's college football season, and I just watch back to back to back college football games and get ready for the NFL draft that way. But I'll watch baseball games, I'll watch the hockey playoffs, the basketball playoffs, whatever. I'll watch it. But it doesn't need to be a Saturday like Shane mentioned because it can't be some rando Tuesday, right? There's no games on. So it can't be that. Don't give me no Tuesday. Give me a Saturday. Then I'll probably run out to one of the local places I mentioned last week, get a hamburger, hot dog, fries, something like that. Come back, do some more exercise, um, watch some more sport. So that really is my I get like two of those a year basically. So they're not unheard of for me, but they are extremely, extremely rare. So that's it for me. Let's go to our final 60. We're a little bit over the clock, but that's okay. It's been a good show. Appreciate everybody jumping in. Final 60. What's yours, Yusef?
All right. Well, every time I come on here, I change my 60. It's a weird phenomenon. But I'm just going on the record. I'm very, very proud of our Michigan Wolverines. Not because they had an undefeated season, not because of the national championship only. That's
none
a
of
big
that.
deal. We knew 22 guys were coming out, so we knew it was going to be a different team going into this season. Lost head coach, lost OC, and some other pieces too on the defense as well on the sidelines. We had 13 picks in this draft, which is a historic record. I think it's a Bristol school as well. School record's 11, I think it was. And we got 9 guys in the top 100. For me, it just felt like it just validated what I felt like I was seeing with my football eyes. Everybody's talking on Twitter and social media. It's about stuff that they don't really see. It's what they assume, what they hear, all hearsay. But what I actually saw with my eyes was a really talented team. And this draft validated that for me. So that's kind of my end point. It validated all the talent that I actually saw with my own eyes. You got 9 guys in the top 100, and 2 of those guys that didn't make the top 100, arguably, and that's Barrett and Johnson. They probably should have been there too, but I think it was knees related that caused them to drop into the 7th round. But to me, it's like, you know what? I was seeing, right? I know a little football. These guys were talented, man. They're going to do some great things in the NFL, man. So really excited to see them get picked and have a validation for all the talent that we were seeing in Ann Arbor, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick on that, because we're so used to seeing schools from the Southeastern Conference kind of sort of get that kind of numbers. But, man, when you're up north and you're Michigan and you're pulling down those kind of numbers, it's a real mark of how much work Harbaugh especially, but everybody there has done over the past few seasons. Just incredible. Corey, final 60.
Man, tomorrow's May. So in my head, it's summertime coming up real close. I'm going on vacation. My goal is to hit as many vacations as possible before I die. So I've started already with one. I'm trying to do another one this summer, and then there'll probably be a few more family reunion type stuff. Just trying to get out and do all the happy things, and like going on a holiday, man. I just want to continue to go on holiday. I advise y'all, hey man, get the family or not, just go on vacation, man. Go do something in another place, another state, another country. If you know what I mean, just I'm really big on that right about now, and I'm gonna try and keep going. I'll encourage others to go out and travel more. So that's my 60s gonna be dedicated to like reaching the goal of traveling. Because as soon as summertime hits, I'm out of here, bro.
Absolutely. Now, I want to be clear here. Like, all I heard was summertime vacations and family reunions. You ain't planning on checking out on us in the fall or anything, right? You're still going to be here all through football season, right?
Sure.
Okay. Just making sure. I'll enjoy all of it, Corey. Shane.
Oh, yeah.
So Yusuf and I did not talk before this 60 seconds, but I am going to talk about one element that is going to be missing from those Michigan Wolverines. Jim Harbaugh. My 60 seconds goes to him because if there isn't a thing that's more Jim Harbaugh than having a camper in Huntington Beach and taking care of everything the way he does. When we had the president's pick, I picked the Harbaugh brothers. Like, you can see there's a thing that I have for that group. But when you get hired as the coach and the first thing you do is go out and buy a shop vac and clean up the weight room, when I talk about DNA, that Chargers team, whether it's going to be super successful this year or not, it's going to be a different team. And I think that's one thing that Harbaugh does a great job. Yeah, you can have problems with him. He got in some trouble this year, depending on if you think it was really his fault or not. But those teams take on his style of play, and the Chargers are going to be physical, and you're not going to want to have to play them when it gets, close. And I think Harbaugh has been the same person since he was, quarterbacking Chicago. And I don't think he's going to change. I'm happy to have him back in the NFL. Sorry that hurts Yusuf's Wolverines, but I think Sherrone Moore is going to do a great job. So,
agreed. I like the Harbaugh hire. We didn't get a chance this show to talk about the coaching hires because they were before we even started. But I do love the Harbaugh hire too on the Chargers.
So my second favorite team.
Okay. Austin, your final 60.
Okay, well, I decided to do another little movie review, but this time I wanted to take the clock back and review a classic that I'd never seen before. So I went and watched Saturday Night Fever for the first time ever. And that movie sucked. I gotta say, this is supposed to be one of the classics that's like the best movie, like one of the better movies of the 70s. And it was not good. I didn't enjoy it. The dancing was cool, but like there was a lot less dancing than I expected. The language was awful. Which I guess I wasn't around back in the 70s, but I'm assuming it's an accurate depiction, which just like threw me for a loop. And then like in the big scene, the main character, John Travolta's character Tony, like is supposed to have this kind of big revelation where he does a good thing, and then like 20 seconds later, no joking, 20 seconds later, just throws it all out the way. And it's just like I thought there was so much like build up to this like character, like, and he was oh, this was his big moment, and then right down the drain. And it was such a big letdown. I did not like the way the movie ended at all. So yeah, don't recommend watching Saturday Night Fever.
I love the 70s movie review. I really do enjoy a movie from Eddie. By the way, Austin, you've inspired me here. Next week, for whoever who's on the show, Mr. Yu, you're welcome to come out next week. Anybody who's on the show next week, I just created this. The topic is going to be your most disappointing movie ever. The movie you looked forward to for any reason that was the most disappointing. I've got like 5 or 6, so I don't know how I'm going to pick one, but that'll be one of the topics for next week. We'll have that to look forward to as well. My final 60 is this, and that is Reggie Bush getting his Heisman Trophy back and getting to be back part of the Heisman family, which I never thought would happen. We talked about this on the show, and yes, we are taking credit. I am taking credit for this show for Reggie Bush getting his Heisman back. I know Johnny Manziel pitched in a little bit, so did some other people, and maybe there was a lawsuit floating around out there that might have had something to do with it, but who cares? This show is so influential. We got Reggie Bush his Heisman Trophy back, and I, for one, am glad to see it. not so much that he needed that trophy sitting on his mantle, but he just needed to be recognized and he needed to be part of the family. There was no reason for him to be Pete Rose in his way through the next 40 years of this Heisman stuff. That just didn't need to happen. So I love Reggie Bush on the field, and I liked that he got it back. And, yes, I am giving us full credit for having done that. We're overtime. We got to scoot. So everybody, just tell everybody bye. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all next week. Goodbye.